Welcome to the Copado Architect Corner. Today we're going hands-on with Data 360 and the New Commit Experience with some basic DLOs and DMOs. Welcome back to the Copado Architect Corner. Today we're going to be showing the deploying Data 360 components using this Copado New Commit Experience. This can be hands-on. We're going to do test DLOs and DMOs, and we're going to migrate them from a source environment to a target environment. And I'm going to walk through all the details, and you could understand all the steps involved. So first, I'm going to show you that this is in our Copado community, and I'm going to go to training, my playgrounds, and I've spun up a playground that I have configured with Data 360. I'm going to go ahead and open up the playground, and this is a Copado environment. What I'm going to be doing is I have a pipeline set up, which has a dev 1, a dev 2, going to staging, going to production. And these are data cloud enabled environments. Now I'm going to go to user stories, and I'm going to create a new user story. Now I do a series of testing, so we're going to be naming things. So kind of like a director naming takes of a movie. So what we're going to do is we're going to go DLO, Data Kit M203. And that's because I like to send these sequentially through this environment. I'm going to pick my environment, and I'm going to pick the credential. Now, normally you put in all your other key information, but I'm just doing the bare minimum to do this test. So this is standard Copado. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and open the org. And this is a nice little shortcut if your user is the owner of the credential. This little demo org, data cloud, you'll see that it's dev 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a manual data lake object. So we're going to come in here. This is not one originated from a data source. This is just a standalone DLO. And I'm going to enumerate it, DLO, M203. I'm going to choose a category of other. You know, from your data cloud training, you could do profile, engagement, or other. I'm going to do other. I'm going to add a primary key. We'll make it a text and mark it the primary key. We're going to add another field. We'll call it field 1. We'll make it a text, and we'll add an additional field, field 2. This one, though, we'll make a number field, and we're going to get save. So now we have a new standalone DLO. What we're going to do is we're going to add it to the data space. And here is my default data space. And I'm going to add the DLO. And you'll see DLO 203. Now, there is new security in Data Cloud, and you can set filters. We're going to add a filter. It's going to be arbitrary, not meaningful, but we're going to show that we can deploy it. So we're going to say field 1 equals show. So it makes no sense, but it allows us to make sure that this is deployed correctly. And we're going to hit save and save. So now we've created a DLO into the data space, and we're going to go create a standalone DMO. Here we go. We're going to hit new, and we're going to make it similar but not the same. So we're going to go DMO M203. We'll also make it engage other. We'll add a new field, but this one is going to be P key. Also a text, so we don't have to worry about transformations. We'll make it data 1, text, add field, data 2, and we'll make this a number, and we're going to hit save. And of course, we have to check that this is the primary key and hit save. So this is a custom DMO. We're going to go back to the DLO 203. We're going to start mapping. From here, I'm going to select the object, and it's going through and looking through the standard objects or custom objects that I can map to. And now what I can do is I can switch this to the custom data model, find 203, and you hit this little hidden plus sign, and done. So this is going to allow me to do the mapping, and I'm going to go from field 1, unmapped to data 1, field 2, unmapped to data 2, and the primary key to P key. We're going to go save and close. So what we have is a DLO mapped to a DMO, both standalone. Now it's time for the deployment. What we're going to do is we're going to add these to a new data kit. So we're going to go to Setup, Data Cloud Setup. We're going to go to Developer Tools, Data Kits. This is a way in which you deploy your components. And I'm going to hit New, and this is going to become a DevOps data kit. And we're going to go DKM203. You don't, obviously in real world, you wouldn't name everything with the numbering like I do, but it allows me to do repetitive deployments without conflict. And DK203. All right, we're going to hit save. So now we need to add the components to the data kit. And so I'm going to hit the DLO. You add the DLOs in their entirety. So here is 203 being added in its entirety. It's found a dependent DMO 203 also. And it also is bringing across the mappings. All those mappings were brought across implicitly. So this is my DKM203. Now I'm prepared to deploy this from Dev 1. Now I go back to my user story. And what I can do is go to commit changes. And this is going to open the new commit experience. So this is the Copado commit experience. And you'll notice that it's right away detected the data package kit definition of 203. I can go turn this little caret down, and this is going to show me all the dependent components that are in there. You'll see we have the custom field, the data kit object, and these components. Now, something interesting is the DMO have the individual fields separately, but the DLO does not. And that's why my special naming is very helpful for the testing. You can see that this is the DLOs files, the data kit object, the data kit object template, and the data source and the data source object. So the fields are all contained inside of there. The data source mapping, this are the field mappings right here. So this is the DMO individualized. The DLO is grouped. These are the mappings, and these are the data package kit objects. So what I can do is just pick the overall one, and you'll notice it's just grabbing the contents. It's doing some additional dependency analysis. We'll talk about that in subsequent videos, and I'm going to go commit the changes. So I'm committing the data package kit definition along with the subcomponents and starting the commit. Now I'm back to my commit screen, and we'll watch this process continue. And you can see that the commit's complete. We're going to go back to the user story. We can go to the build tab, and we can see the items that are committed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a deployment as is. So from here, I'm going to go to submit. I'm going to do a direct deployment. This is kicking off the promotion. What I can do is go to the Deliver tab, see the promotion, and we can watch the promotion. And you can see the deployment is in process, and you can see that it's successful. Now we're going to go back to the user story. And if I go to the user story, you can see that it's been migrated to the next environment. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do the trick to open the org in the target environment. I'm going to show you some of the nuances and the extra step we need to follow. So we have deployed the data kit, but the data kit has not been installed. If we go to the data lake objects and we go all, you'll notice we will not see 203. So DLOs need a second phased approach, which is the deploying of the data kit. However, if you go to the DMOs, they don't, 203 doesn't show up here, but if we go to all, so we're going to then look up DMO. And what I want to show you is if we do a search for DMO, we will see 203. So it comes across with a direct deployment. So DMOs direct deploy as soon as the data kit arrives. DLOs and many other metadata types do not. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Data Cloud Setup. We're going to go find the data kit. We're going to find 203. And a really neat thing you'll look is go to the deployment history. You'll see it hasn't been deployed. So again, we're back to here. We're in staging. And we're going to go to the DLOs. And we are going to look for all. And we are not going to see 203. So we're in staging. 203 is not there. I go to 203 Data Kit. And I press this button, Data Kit Deploy. This triggers a Salesforce flow, which will trigger the deployment, pretty much the unpackaging of the data kit into the environment. And so I'm going to refresh. You'll notice that you get the first entry to show you the flow is started. And then if the flow completes, you'll be getting an additional entry. So here I am. Let's do a refresh. You'll see that it's successful. And typically there should be one more message. There we go. So what we now have is a successful deployment of the data kit in staging. So I come back to here, 203 was not there, and I refresh, and 203 is there now. And in fact, if I click to 203, I can now hit review, and I can see the mappings, and then we can go to the data spaces, go to the default in staging. We can find 203, and you'll see that we have one filter available. And you'll see that the filter showed up as we intended. So this is the extra step. You need to go to the data kit and press the deploy data kit button. And we have successfully deployed the components. So we just created a standalone DLO with a standalone DMO. We mapped fields, added it to data kit, added that to the Copado User Story using the New Commit Experience, did a standard deploy. We deployed it. We saw that the DMO showed up unmapped. The DLO did not. We went to the data kit, pressed the deploy data kit, and then we watched the success messages, and then it was deployed. Soon, we're going to have the ability to have that pressing the deploy data kit as a post-deploy step. Right now, it's manual. So this is showing how Copado can seamlessly deploy the Data 360 data kits seamlessly. Thank you for joining, and get ready for the new commit and rocking with Data 360.